Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 129, and today I want to talk to you about the last week. There's just been a lot of crazy stuff that's been happening, a lot of new people on staff, and maybe some issues with the podcast, actually. But before I get into all of this, if you could do me a huge favor, click that like button, really helps out my channel, and if you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So I kind of finished that off with the podcast thing, so let me kind of give you guys an update about that. Apparently, we got a complaint about the amount of noise that we were creating just when we were moving in last week into the new podcast studio. And there's some other issues that are going to come out with that, but essentially here, we're only going to be in there for 1 day per week on basically either Wednesday or Thursday afternoons. That's still a toss-up here. And then towards the end of the day, so we cut clinic off for whoever's going to be going over and doing the podcast, myself and one of the other audiologists in our clinic. And I don't know if the other tenants inside of that space are going to play nice. Now, here's the crazy thing. When we moved in, there were actually 2 dogs inside of that office that were, I believe, the property of whoever was sitting in the front desk area. Now, keep in mind, this is like an executive office suite. So they have a front desk area and then a bunch of other offices inside of this big office space. And you lease out each individual office that you want to use. And so you don't know what other businesses are in there. I mean, I guess if you're there long enough, you figure out who's there. But as of right now, there's probably good 6 or 7 different companies that are in there that are renting out individual rooms. And we were there for literally like 3 hours, just moving stuff in and setting stuff up with our door closed and not making that much sound. We got a noise complaint already. And I'm like, well, how the heck are we going to do this podcast inside of that space? On top of that, the high-speed internet that this space was supposed to have was, it was giving us like 3 or 4 megabytes upload, or sorry, 3 or 4 megabytes download and like 1 megabyte upload, which is not enough to do a live podcast. So we'll actually have to tap directly into the Wi-Fi there, or not the Wi-Fi, but like the router there for the internet, instead of going through the Wi-Fi in order to get the high-speed internet that we need to do a live show. The problem with that is that we actually have to go to the location of the office and plug in and have the producers in that area, and then have a cord that or a cable that goes into our podcast room to take all the audio and video to the producers so they can put it online without having to go through Wi-Fi. I'm not sure that they're actually going to allow that. So I think that we may have just signed a 3-month, lease for that space, and we might not even be able to get to use it. If we do get to use it, I'm suspecting we'll have to actually rent another room inside of there, and which would bring our total cost to probably around, I don't know, $1,000 a month just for renting these spaces to use them 4 times a month. So it's pretty expensive. Nonetheless, we might actually have to do that if we're going to make this work. We still need to talk to the realtor about that. So we're actively thinking about backup plans for this. Number one is, could we bring in this production crew into the clinic and just kind of move the clinic around at the end of the day on one of the days in terms of the shifting the furniture and stuff like that. It wouldn't be perfect. We wouldn't be able to set up a permanent location for the podcast, but it might be the next best option. We're also looking at leasing another office space that could be promising, but it will be substantially more expensive. But at least it would be very close to our current clinic, and we could literally just walk over to this other space inside of the same commercial area that we are in right now. But that will probably be double or triple the cost for us to go that route. And then the other route is literally doing it in my basement here where I live. So, I mean, heck, we already have 1 room set up as my YouTube studio. Might as well take over the basement floor as well. I don't know if Ashley will be too happy with that, though. That remains to be seen. But I'm really committed to doing this podcast. Like, this podcast is going to happen 100%. The question becomes is, where do we actually have the podcast? I'm still hoping that the original location will work out. Obviously, we've already committed some money to that, but it might not work out. So we really need to talk to the realtor for that space to find out if what we want to do this 1 day per week for an hour and a half is actually going to be okay with the other tenants that are there. I'm guessing that's something maybe we should have thought of beforehand, but we thought we were going to have fast enough internet because they said they had high-speed internet inside of that room, and then we were going to originally have the production crew inside the room. So We'll see what happens. That might all fall through. It might be totally fine. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated. The other thing I want to update you about is that this last week was essentially the second full week with our new audiologist, Dr. Rachel Cook, who will be one of my co-hosts on the actual podcast. And training so far has gone really well. The problem with me and my schedule is that my schedule tends to get kind of busy. So it's very hard for me to provide actual training throughout the day. So I'm really looking forward to having a couple of slower days, I think, this next week that I'll be able to spend more time committed to training. Because here's the thing that you need to understand about the way that my clinic runs. So Dr. Leslie Balderas has been my extern for the past year, and she worked side by side with me. She knows exactly how everything functions the way that I do it inside the clinic. We follow best practice care with a person-centered care approach. And so she is locked in and provides a very equivalent level of care that what I do. And I want to get Dr. Cook up to that type of care. Now, the thing is that she's an experienced audiologist, so she already has a lot of foundational knowledge and ability to customize hearing aids to the point where they are functioning really, really well. But the way that we do things in our clinic is so drastically different than what other clinics do. And so it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, how do we actually structure our treatments for our patients and our follow-up for our patients, and then she just has to get on board with how we do things. I would say in general that the summertime here has been a little bit slower. I'm not sure if that's only because it's being summer here in Arizona and people don't like to go out and everyone has gone back to the northern states to escape the heat. I don't know if it has something to do with the economy. Typically speaking, hearing aids are what are considered an inelastic good, meaning even if the price fluctuates on those on devices, people still purchase hearing aids, right? They still want hearing treatment because they want to hear. So even if there's an economic downturn, most likely individuals would still want to hear during an economic downturn and still come in and purchase treatment. But the weird thing that's been happening lately is that we are not in network, rather, with any insurance companies out there except for Medicare because we have to be by law. And so it creates a situation where we're getting calls from people who've been to other clinics and they've had horrible experiences. And they end up calling our clinic because they're like, hey, I was watching these videos talking about all these crazy, amazing things that you guys do from a best practice care perspective that my other clinic never does or never did. And I want to come to you guys. And it's like, okay, but we are not in network with your insurance. And so they're like, oh, so I'd have to pay some money out of pocket to come to you guys. And that's the answer. And we are out-of-network providers as well, so you can typically use some of your insurance benefit, but the insurance benefit that you get from going to an out-of-network provider is sometimes lower than what you go to your in-network providers. And these insurance companies love it this way. They want to control the cost of everything so they don't have to pay out as much. But at the end of the day, you are left with usually subpar care. And then I've talked about this before, but like managed care is taking over. So there's some people who go in like, hey, I got this great insurance. They cover a massive amount of my hearing aid treatment. And it's like, well, that's great, but you can't even come to us and use that insurance benefit because you have to be in network and they control who's in network. So we've had it a lot this week, which is why I'm bringing it up. I know I've talked about this ad nauseum on other vlogs on other weeks, but I actually get scared for the future of hearing healthcare and the quality of hearing healthcare because everything is a race to the bottom. Everyone wants everything as low cost as possible, and I'm not even talking individuals who have hearing loss. I'm talking about insurance companies who don't want to reimburse hearing care professionals to do their job and do it well. And here's the thing, I get that there are a lot of hearing care professionals out there that do not provide a high quality of care, so they should not be reimbursed a really high amount for hearing treatment. But then you have other clinics like mine who can't even participate in these insurance groups because the reimbursement's so low that we would have to reduce our quality of care. So it all just seems kind of ridiculous to me. And then one thing that kind of stood out to me this week from what Dr. Rachel Cook said coming from another clinic to ours is she's like, Dr. Olson, we would charge very similar price to what you would charge inside of your clinic at Applied Hearing Solutions, and we would give people nothing close to the care. They would get their devices, they would come in for a really quick fitting, and maybe do one follow-up visit. And I'm just like, That's crazy. You're charging equivalent to what we charge in our clinic, and you're going to give someone substantially less, almost equivalent of almost nothing when it comes to hearing treatment. You might as well just go and buy your hearing aids online if the hearing care professionals that you're going to see don't actually provide you with any services. So that is something that kind of just was like, man, what is going on here? Like, should I significantly reduce the quality of the care in my clinic and maybe like be able to see more patients because we do that? I don't know, man. Tell you what, it's pretty enticing, you know, if you don't have morals and ethics, I guess. But, you know, I charge what we need to charge in order to maintain the high level of care that we do. We are very responsible with money inside of our clinic, so we don't spend a lot of money on frivolous things, to be quite honest with you, and it really makes it to where we've been able to weather this storm of like the increasing pricing and stuff like that from hearing aid manufacturers and suppliers and all of that. But nonetheless, I feel like I'm kind of getting down this road of being complaining. I don't really want to go down that route. I'm still really excited for things that are coming at Applied Hearing Solutions. I know that my time in the clinic is going to get reduced here towards the end of the year. I'm going to be going from 4 days a week down to 3 days a week in the clinic, which is one of the main reasons why we brought Dr. Rachel Cook in, so I can get her trained up to be providing a very equivalent level of care to what the rest of us do inside of the clinic. And then that's going to allow me time to create more informational content, because here's the thing, we are in a battle out there in the hearing care space. We have to make sure that individuals with hearing loss understand that there is a different level of care out there than just the status quo. And when you get that different level of care, you get to experience better hearing. But that doesn't happen if we continue to go to these clinics who just do not do the things that they're supposed to be doing, and you continue to pay them money or continue to use your insurance benefit at these clinics. Because I don't know what's going to happen when I'm 80 years old and I need someone to treat my hearing loss, and there's nowhere good to go. Like, I just have to go to whoever's in network with my insurance, and they just provide you with like first fit care, or I have to buy hearing aids online and I get absolutely no care from that. Like, that actually scares me, because I think that that's where a lot of audiology is headed, unfortunately. And here I go down this negative hole again. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I just feel like it's a big responsibility on my shoulders to make sure that the quality of care that you guys have access to still exists in the next few years, because it is literally under attack right now. And I'm going to try to keep my head up, try to stay positive with all of this, and make this podcast happen so I can keep sharing more and more information about hearing loss and hearing treatment. And we'll see where everything lands here in the next couple of years. But that is pretty much it for what I wanted to talk about today, guys. I apologize for the negative context of this talk, but I appreciate you sticking with me anyway. Leave me any comments that you have down in the description below. And as always, I'll see you next week.